This is a series of movies with this Chevy S10 that I'm going to be doing. This one is based on the headlights, but I'm going to use it also for the tires and the windows. I want to get right into this because I've already completed one whole series of um, layers for the lights, and I'm going to get real close to this right here, and I'm going to turn off this S10 on the bottom, which I have, and turn on the grill area, so I have it right there. This is a wonderful demonstration piece of reference, and because you can see this light has a lot of vertical action going on, and it's got the nice colors that I want, and the parking light is turned on. For this demo, I will do the upper headlight only, and I do have all the rest of this other stuff cut out, but I'll show it to you later. I've filled in the grill area, and I did this bar here, which I'll show you real fast here. I did the center bar right there with the logo, as you can see. Let me back off one magnification so you can see it. And I also did, I'll take that off, and I also did that center grill area with the darkness and this area as well. But that's not what this demo is about. It's about the light, and I want to get right into it because I want to make this less than half an hour on this. I'm going to turn on and go into my light, and I'm going to turn on the vertical lines that I also have in here. This is what I'm including in all of my reference that's finished for this light. Let me back off of this just a little bit and get perfectly close so you see both of them on screen. Perfect, right there. Now, what I want to show you is all the paths that I have made. So I'm going to turn on a very light version of this vehicle so you can see the paths that I have accomplished. I've started with the outer path of the light, and you can follow me if you follow it right around here. It's just the nice outer path of the light, which I duplicated and I turned into the second. I call it light 1A outer and light 1 outer and light 1A outer. And then I of course duplicated it and I shrunk it with the transform. Then I did the same thing here. I duplicated it, but if you can see that this is just for the light area right there and this dark reflection right there. Then if you keep on looking over to the, in fact I'll try to get close to this so you can see it a little bit better with both of them on screen. Okay, I did it for this area right over here, and perhaps if I turn on the regular car you will see it just as well. I did it for this area right there, and then I have the white reflection right there. Okay, now let me back off one, like I said, one more on this and put it where you can see both. And now I'm going to go down to light 2. So again, let me start with, I have the outer shape, which is 1. I have the next shape, which is 2. Then I have the next inside shape, which is a duplicate, which is 3. Because I always work my way from my outer to my inner. And I'm going to show you the layers that I have already created from it. Then I have isolated out the light on the left. That's the next one. Then I made a very simple path, which if you look and see, it's going to be for the dark areas that are behind the vertical lines. And please, with this, please remove the vertical lines from your sight because I'm going to block in the entire background without the vertical lines. The next one is the small dark areas, and then I have another one which includes some of the light areas right there as well. So I just have some of the dark shapes cut out in both the left and the right hand side of this headlight. Then I have a series of paths down here, if you're seeing it, with lights too, where this is the yellow area and a little bit more of these shapes. I also have cut out the small darks, if you can see them right up in here. Okay, now let's go on with this. I have the vertical lines right there, which I only did one of, and then I duplicated them. I am going to show you how to do that right on screen. Let's pretend that I only had one of these done. So I've just held Command Option in the pen, and I'm going to click on this path right here. I'm going to click on this path right here on this side, and I'm going to get rid of it. So I'm going to delete it out, go down here and delete it out. Don't try to ever draw both sides of this. Please only draw one side and then use the duplication command like I'm going to do right now. When you're in the pen, you hold Command Option and you then hold Shift and drag over to the other side about the thickness you want. Then you just hold the Option key and you click and close. It's the same with the door line, and you click and close, and you can see how I've done that. Then you hold Command Option and you just keep on dragging over with the Shift key held down, and you can position these vertical lines. Now, I didn't just position them. If you see where they're falling, a dark line, follow me right here where my mouse is, a dark line actually turns into a light line. So I just went straight up and I turned it right into the light line, and I kept my geometry going all the way through this. And you can see how fairly accurate I am, because really the light, when they made it, is a geometric shape, and they had to follow a geometric pattern. Well, so did I. Now I'm going to go down and show you that I did the same thing on this side, although I'm barely going to use them. And when I say barely going to use them, this is exactly what I mean. Let me turn this off by holding the Shift key, turn off this car right here, and let's strip down this light to the bottom layer, because I'm not really going to have a whole lot of time to paint this in front of you, but I want you to see how I actually painted it. All right, I looked down here and I saw that the very first path was actually just the outer shape. You can see what I've done with the outer shape. It was a solid blue with a little bit darker blue here and a little bit of darker blue on the bottom. And I'm going to point to that where that is. Look at how you can see where the darker blue is on the bottom all the way on the outer side. Now that was done with the light one right there. And I just went Command click, one pixeled feather, and I used a big brush and I painted. And actually that's an opaque layer. And see how the path is named the same thing the layer is? Then I went to the inside one and I Command clicked the inside one, went Option Command D, one pixeled feather, Command H to hide it, and I created this layer. Now that layer is just, look at what I'm painted. That layer just goes from this darker value. Don't care about the inside and don't care how messy you get on the inside. It's just the darker value as you see it all the way around. Now, it's time to paint the third one. So your eye should be looking between where my pen is pointing here and where my pen is pointing here. Should be looking at the third one. So let's turn the third one on. Now you can see how I've just blocked in the third path, and I went down and used the third layer, and then I went down and used the third path. Again, you Command click it, Option Command D, one pixeled feather, and you go ahead and paint with Command H definitely on. Okay, and see how I actually now have a little light value in here, which I'm going to pick up later and even do better than that. Okay, and notice how I'm not blocking in any of the detail. Now let's go to the next one. The next area up is the darks. Look at how, if you can tell, I've just started to model the darks behind the vertical lines. What did I do? I drew them with the dark area right there. I went Option Command D and I made it maybe 3 pixeled feather, and I just started painting where I see the dark shapes. Now, there's a lot of freehand painting on the next one, because I want you to see that in the same thing right here. This is the same path that I used, and I then went and I started modeling inside with my paintbrush with this selected right here. I went Option Command D about 2 pixels on the feather, and I moved it up with the arrow keys to about that position. Then I took my paintbrush with a brush about that big, and I started painting all the dark areas. How do you know where you're supposed to paint? Well, go back up to here, right where I'm pointing, and turn on the car. You will tell where you're supposed to be painting. Okay? Now you can tell that the area up in here is a little bit less modeled. It's not so definitive like I have. See how I have a hard line right there? All right, let me go down to this a little bit farther down, and let me show you that what I did was I went to increase the darks there on dark area 3. I just increased them, that's all I did, and that's what I used. I used one of my paths right there to increase the dark areas. Alright, now that actually is a little light thing that I'm going to come back with later, this little shape there. How do I know that's a light thing? If I just turn on the car, I can see that it's a light thing, if you see where I'm pointing, okay, which is right in this area. Let me turn this off. Let me go down and show you the next area. So I Command D the selection and show you the next area. There is the area that, this is the path, the layer, I'm sorry, that I used to just paint the blue up in here, and I went back down to my outer third path, and I Command clicked it, gave it 1 pixeled feather, and I just painted a little blue up in here over my dark to kind of model that area right there. Now, I have pretty much most of my painting behind there. I did 2 more detail layers. Now look at the left hand side of this. Look at the modeling that I have going on inside of here, and I used a mixture of these paths down here, the small darks, and some of these. That one that I'm painting, that's for the yellow area. So I went from the small darks, then I'm going to paint the yellow area right there over here where I'm circling. Now watch where that is. That's probably up in here where the whites are, and then there's where my yellow is right there. Now, one thing that I did want to mention, if I hold the shift key and click on this, whenever you have yellow going to blue, you must put orange in between. And look at how even in the reference down here, whenever yellow goes to blue so you don't get green, you have to overlay it with a little bit of orange, which I have done here. Wherever the yellow approaches the blue, you always take orange and you kind of put it in there, because you don't want a green headlight, you want a yellow-orange headlight, especially in the light we're going to do next. Let me get on to the next layer. The next one is pretty important because I want you to see how little I actually used these vertical lines. Now let me show you the vertical lines. Here is vertical 1. Now I'm going to command click vertical 1. I'm going to go option command D, 1 pixeled feather, command H to hide it, and I want you to see something really cool. I looked down here and I saw, okay, there's just a few darks going down here on the vertical lines. So what I did was watch how I have 3 layers of my paint. Here is the light stuff that I put in on the one side. I then went and put the darks in. Now I also want you to see something. I'm going to get real close to this because I want you to see something. I'm going to go command H so you can see them. You see how these are lining up for the darks? When you're ready to paint the lights right next to the darks, just use your cursor keys, toggle it 1, 2 over, paint a little bit of the lights, then toggle it 1, 2 back, and you can go right back in to painting some of those darks. But I didn't mean you just fill all the shapes up with dark. You have to use your reference. Let me go command H to hide this. You have to use your eyes down here and see, okay, there's a lot of dark going through here, a minimal amount of dark, and then there's some darks on the top. So those vertical lines are only for just an infusion of paint, just a transition. Paint it where it is, and if you mess up, put a layer mask on. It's real easy. Put a layer mask on this. Use your black and white technique in the layer mask to kill some of it. Now let me go up and show you that I actually went in to my vertical lines. Let me turn these off. And I actually went in and look at how I increased some of these darks where they are increased down in here. So it only took 3 lines to actually get those done. 3 ways to do it. Now there's a special technique that I want to show you. And I'm going to go command H and command D to deselect the selection. I'm going to turn on the regular car again because I want to show you something, but I don't want you to use it for an overall painting technique, just for an enhancement of painting. That's called using color range, and I want to do it wrong the first time and do it right the second time. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Look down here in my channels palette. I have light dark 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to click on light dark 1, which is my middle gray, middle dark gray, then I have my darker gray down here, and then my solid or my increased black. So it goes from a level of medium, heavy, and heaviest, or whatever you want to say. But I'm going to show you how I did those. When I want to get the pattern of the color for the dark gray, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the B key and hold the option key and grab this dark right here. Now the foreground color is filled with that dark. But I'm going to do something wrong. I'm not going to isolate out the light, and I'm just going to go to select color range and show you that it doesn't know what I'm talking about. It thinks I want all of those darks on the whole car. So I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to go down here and I'm going to show you that I'm going to activate my light 3 outer path. This time no need for a feather, because all I'm going to do is go up to select color range, and if your foreground color is the correct color, then it will truly isolate out all that color in the light only, as long as you have the selection around that shape. Now you get a slider bar and you can grab more or less of what you want. Now the reason I did this, and let me cancel this out, is really because I wanted to use this dark area here. Those darks I could never draw. They're like from the image, okay? So what I did was I went and got the dark color. Let me click back up here Let me go over to my brush and hold the Option key and grab this dark color. Now you see the foreground color has been filled with that dark. Let me go to Select Color Range and look at how I got all of those neat darks, and I'll allow myself to get a little bit more of those darks. And let me say OK. Now that is how I actually went up to Select and Save Selection, and I saved it as Light Dark 3. Pretend I hit OK, and then that is what you actually get out of it. Even though it doesn't look like it got all of the rest of this, it really did. Even though the selection only looks like it got that much, it truly did see the rest of this out here. And if you want more of these darks, then all you have to do is slide the color bar, the color range up. For, the slider bar that I went from 40, allow it more tolerance into that hue. Let me go Command D to deselect the selection, click up to the RGB image, and show you if I turn off this little layer of the car here. There's my light, and I'm going to show you that I actually added some final stuff. I'm going to use and show you that from that channel I just told you about, I filled that channel up with that dark right there to enhance this area. Then I have two layers that I wanted to end this on. Look at how I have no detail. I have a little bit of detail here, but I don't have any up on my illustration yet. So I'm going to use my my reflection over here, if you look what I'm getting over here, plus my reflection of white. And by using and making my, just watch what I do. I went Command D to make it a selection. I actually used and moved it over to the left a little bit and to the right a little bit so I could actually paint the orange on both sides of this. In other words, on this layer called Final Darks, I actually put the dark in here, plus I put a little bit of orange on each side, and I want to get close and show you what I'm talking about. Let me back off one more so you can maybe see the bottom shape a little bit. Alright, yes you can. Look at how if I go Command H, see how I have a little orange and yellow? Well, understand that all I did, and I kind of did it bad, I did it on one layer because I knew what I was doing, but all I did was I went and I painted, I toggled this over, look at what I'm toggling, and I painted a little orange on one side, then I moved it back over and I painted a little orange on the other side, then I moved it back over and painted a little yellow on the one side and the yellow on the other side. I didn't have the white in there yet. Then I just did the dark on the bottom right here. So now I kind of have what this is down here, but without the white. Now all I do is go up to my reflection right here and Command click it. Then I went to Select, Modify, Contract, and I contracted this by 1 pixel. Look at how nicely that gets the white. I went Option Command D, 1 pixeled feather, Command H to hide it, and then I used white to create the white inside that layer right there. Did I do a bad thing by putting it all on one layer? No, because it didn't take me that long to do in the first place. There is your light, and you can see how beautiful it actually works. And if you want to add more of these little light areas, then you have more final detail layers. If I want to grab a little bit more white there and there, all I have to do is find my little lights, which are right, not there, yes, right there, and go Command click. And if I want to grab and make this a little bit whiter, Option Command D, I'll go 2 pixels on the feather, and I'll go Command H to hide it, and maybe on this final detail layer I should go paint a little bit more white in there. So I'll grab white in my airbrush and I'll take it and I'll actually paint a little bit more white right there. Now I actually am painting over the vertical lines, so I'm going to Command Z that back. I don't want to hurt my vertical lines here. Let me show you what layer I have those on. They are on this layer right there. So what I should do is go down to a layer I already created as detail number 3, click to my detail layer underneath the vertical lines, and now underneath the vertical lines I should actually add the white here and a little bit more white there, and you can see how pretty that's getting right there. Now the white here I would like above the vertical lines. So let's go here, click to my final detail layer, and let's get a smaller brush, and let's just put a little bit of white right there, and you can see how pretty that looks because I needed this one above the vertical lines, these I needed below the vertical lines, so I just painted them on layers above and below my vertical lines, which by the way are named very nicely, my verticals 1, 2, and 3. The next thing we are going to accomplish is the orange down here, and I'm going to paint the entire thing in front of you because it's just an orange light. So please look and see how wonderful that is. And before I leave you, I do want you to see how little of these vertical lines it actually took to make this file. So I'm going to turn off all of my layers except for the vertical lines. Let me go down here and swipe all this out. Let me go down here all the way to the black and swipe this out. Look at how very little it took to make the vertical lines work. And let me start by going like this. A little vertical line here, I'll turn off. One right there, which wasn't very much, especially if I turn on my bottom 3 layers. Look at how there isn't much paint there. And that's the secret of doing these. You just paint them where you see them, and that's important to know. So let me turn on the rest of this. My dark areas, my detail 1, 2, and 3, my vertical lines 3, my vertical lines 1, I have my channel darks, and then my final detail here and here, and that should be it. And there is your lamp. That is this little demo. Please go on to number 2 right now.